Hey guys, and welcome back to the 5th episode of this playthrough of Dead Rising 3. In the last one it left off with the main characters looking at the TV and realizing that they were going to firebomb the entirety of the city. And in this episode they're going to try to get to the barricade so they can escape from the city before it gets firebombed. Cutscene.
Now that you know what you're doing, let's get to that quarantine station.
So yeah, now we're gonna head to the quarantine station with this souped up vehicle.
Let's get to that quarantine station quick.
It's a very... oh, shit. It's a very nice vehicle, good for getting around in the world. And it has a gun which is very useful on the top for just clearing out hordes. And as you'll see in a second, I said in the earlier gameplay that it's not hard to rack up a body count, and you'll see that soon with this car. It is very easy to rack up a body count. Which, like I said before, has been a weird growing focus for every game. With every new installment they add more and more bodies to the game. They add more and more zombies on screen, and they add more and more ways to kill them, but also kill them pretty fast. Because I'm achieving kills pretty fast at the moment. I'm already at 4,265. Even though I played... this is my second time. I started the game again with the current rank, which also keeps the kills. But you know. But a couple things I don't know if I mentioned or not. The first would be, well actually first a few things actually. I do post commentary, which means that as of right now I'm not playing the game. I recorded the gameplay and now I'm talking over it. The second part was... oh, what the hell was it? As of right now I've recorded 15 parts. This will be the 5th going up today. And as of now, I believe that just with a few more recording sessions I'll beat the game and then upload a video with my opinion. And due to that, I've started uploading on this channel, which is called Monkey Sniper GP, which is my gameplay channel now. I was uploading on my main, now I'm uploading it on my secondary channel just to keep it uncluttered. As well, I'm uploading currently all of the other parts onto that channel and then deleting them from my main account. Just to keep it, you know, clean. But I'm not sure how many parts this will take to get through. It doesn't matter because I actually have a hard drive which I'm dumping the footage onto. So about as long as it takes, it doesn't really matter because I'll have enough room to, you know, do it. The only part that I'm partially worried about is the fact that I'm afraid that I'll eventually run out of things to say, because this will be long, I imagine. There'll be quite a few parts, at least 30 maybe, because I'm planning to go S rank and then go overtime, which will make the game a bit longer, I imagine. I'll say this about DR3 as opposed to Ooh, that blackout feature is really annoying. I'll see this about DR3 as opposed to what I've seen of DR4 in the story. At least they tried to keep it with the Dead Rising, I guess, world almost? With the world that they built up in Dead Rising the previous two. They at least tried to keep it, like, you know, to the story in this game. Come 4, they kind of just butcher the whole thing and kind of sucks. Here's something in the background. I don't know what that is. I'll also say come Dead Rising 1, I'll have a lot more to talk about. That's, you know, it's been about a decade since I've played that game, because Dead Rising 4 came out like a decade plus ago. I think a decade plus a year. It came out in 2006, and I played it in 2007. So come like by the time I played it, it'd been about a decade since I played it, which is crazy to think. It's been 10 years since I first played Dead Rising 1. I don't have a lot to talk about in that game just because I like it a lot more and I've played it a lot more. I've played it quite a few times through the Dead Rising 1, also Dead Rising 2. So I know quite a bit about the game, but I'll be also playing it on PC, which I'm not sure if that'll change the experience. I've heard that you can get 1080 60, which sounds really nice. Really nice. I actually got hung up on a sign, which was really weird. But it's kind of hard to talk about this game without talking about the rest of the series, because it feels like between 2 and then to this game, it feels like the game lost so much personality, which makes it pretty hard to commentate about, especially when you're not seeing much and the story isn't really all that much. As of right now, it's pretty much just get to checkpoint and escape, if you can. And, you know. And I'll also say this, the characters aren't really anything to get invested in this game, which is kind of shit. It's kind of like 2 almost, because Dead Rising 1 had characters to get invested in, but in Dead Rising 2 it kind of lost that. The only 2 characters who really care about is Chuck Green and Katie, and that's about it. Come Dead Rising 3, any character personality has essentially been stripped from the game, at least for me. Because as for right now, I don't really care about any of the characters except potentially Nick Ramos, the main character. But as of for the rest of them, it's like I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. And one thing that Dead Rising 1 did was it built you to like the characters. So if anything did happen to them, you'd feel really bad and sad. There'd actually be something emotional there as opposed to this game. And just trying to ramp up the shock value doesn't really help the game either. It's like, okay, yes, the first 2 were pretty brutal, but just making that brutal doesn't really do anything for the game. You at least have to, you know, do some other things besides make it over the top excessively brutal. Which was one of the appeals of the first game, I'll say. It was the over-the-top brutality was cool, but there were also other things that made it cool, like the story, and there was a good amount of ambience as well in the game. Ambience, which this game doesn't exhibit to the fullest degree, because as stupid as it sounds, the open-ended environment of a city as opposed to a mall makes it a lot less tense. If you're just holed up in a mall, then it's a lot more tense than an open city. There's only so many places to run in a mall, But in a city, I mean, there's a whole city. It just, you know, throughout this game I'll probably complain about it the most, but I don't really hate the game to the greatest degree. I flip the car. That'll be a running trend, by the way. I flip cars a lot. And stand next to the explosions. 10:30, 10:26. Yeah, but I have a tendency, like I said before, I said it in a previous episode, and I'll say it again, I flip cars a lot, and I don't know how many times it'll happen in the next episode, but it happens quite a bit. I don't know why. And at this point I wasn't sure if she could actually get on the car or not, but she could, or the, what do you call it? Shit. I'm stupid, I can't remember the name of it. Oh, I give up, I don't care. I tried, I guess. I'm just proven too dense to even remember what the hell the name of it is. It's a steamroller. God, how did I forget that? So yeah, at this point you had to get back on foot and walk the rest of the way. You know, just cause. Yeah, but in terms of tension they needed to do, it just doesn't work with a city. Even if it's a closed off city, I feel like it works a lot less with atmosphere to make it a city. Like, for example, in Dead Island, you're stuck on an island, and while it is an open-ended island, it's still nonetheless an island that you're trapped on and you cannot escape. And I get that it's a city that you cannot escape, but at the same time, like, the closed nature makes it almost, you know, a bit more tense. When you're holed up in a mall, at the very least. But yeah, at this point, that's the end of the episode, so I'll see you next time.